this weekend. Stipe Miocic, the heavyweight reigning, defending heavyweight champion of the world, versus Daniel Cormier, the former light heavyweight champion of the world, the former heavyweight champion of the world, to end the trilogy, and to end DC's career, to end the trilogy. DC, Cormier. It's going to be a great fight. I really look forward to it. I'll get rid of the stress. Who's he going to pick? It's going to be Cormier. I think Cormier is going to take this fight. I think stylistically, he's a really good matchup for Stipe. And that's not a knock on Stipe. I love both fighters. I enjoy the hell out of watching both fighters. But I think Stipe, the first fight, got knocked out in the first round out of the clinch. The second fight really wasn't looking good. If you watch that second fight back, he won by knockout in the fourth round, but he got his ass kicked for 3 rounds before the fourth round. DC really should have stuck to his first round game plan, which was take Stipe down, beat him up, tire him out, beat him up again, and beat him up some more. What ended up happening was DC he's talented on the feet, and he got a little too overzealous, where he was piecing Stipe up. Stipe's face looked like hamburger meat at the end of that second fight. The problem was Stipe was still standing there, and he is really has one of the best hands in the heavyweight division. He's super fast, really good boxer. Doesn't a lot of heavyweights looking at you, Francis Ngannou. They whine these massive power shots trying to launch somebody in orbit. Stipe's a cool, calm, ones and twos type of guy. Just does the work. He found a home for some body shots in that second fight. That was really the game changer, because DC got cocky, started thinking he could stand with Stipe, forgetting you're giving up like 6 inches. Stipe can hit your body without really worrying about you knocking him out. He hit, I think it was like 7 or 8, really just uncontested body shots in the fourth round. And, earlier on, you're like, DC might want to start defending those, because if he doesn't, he's in trouble. And then you can kind of see after like the third or fourth, DC kind of had that oh shit moment of like, I'm going to have to defend these body shots or I'm in trouble. But at that point, Stipe just, he had the distance. DC couldn't get in close enough, and every time he tried to, if he threw a jab, if he threw a right, trying to maybe get Stipe's hands up so he could shoot for the takedown, Stipe, the moment he swung, would just move his head out of the way, and DC would swing, Stipe would move, and just hit him with a body shot, and like the 7th, 8th, 9th left hook. There was that one left hook that just didn't slap off the body, it didn't hit and shake everything, it just stuck to DC's side, and it was instant. Like, everybody in the arena, DC, Stipe, everybody knew what had just happened. He took a clean left hook to the liver, his arm dropped, and all of a sudden Stipe charged in, started piecing, just teeing off and pieced him up, just knocked him out, although not fully knocked him out, but put him down, ended the fight, ref stoppage. Stipe, the new heavyweight champion of the world. My issue with that is, whatever Stipe's game plan was going into that fight, that was not it. They found something later on in the fight, which is an incredible adjustment. That is a championship level fighter, a former champion, a current champion fighter, and a championship level coaching staff. They saw that. They diagnosed it. They said he's leaving his body open. He's not exactly a guy who's got a hard body. DC is the daddest man on the planet. He is dad bod for life. They started teeing off on his body. So, great adjustment. The issue is Cormier now knows that was there. They just had their pre-fight presser tonight where both of them were there, and DC called it out and said, look, he beat me up on the body. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I watched that back multiple times, and I saw what happened. But he was only able to do that once. He'll never be able to do that again. And you have to believe that. DC's going to make adjustments. He lost because of one thing. You also have to think DC has watched that fight over and over and over again. It's been almost a year. He's watched it over and over and over again, and he saw he had success. But the most success he had and the least danger he was in was his takedowns. I mean, look, let's be honest. Stipe Miocic is a really good wrestler. I mean, you go back and watch his Francis Ngannou fight. He just wore him down with his wrestling. He took Ngannou down, drug him into deep water, really just wore him out. By the end of the second round, Ngannou could barely stand, and Stipe knew at that point he had won the fight. The problem is Daniel Cormier is just a different breed of wrestler. There's something in the water at American Kickboxing Academy between Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, and Khabib Nurmagomedov. They're just the best wrestlers. That's just the way that goes. They're just excellent wrestlers. They're also excellent at not only taking a guy down, but they do not lay and pray. Although the people that don't like them say they lay and pray. They do not lay and pray. They take you down, they beat you up. I think DC is going to take down Stipe and beat him up. Another thing that I did see too that worried me a little bit about this fight, Stipe looks a little lean. That's not a bad thing. Maybe he got faster. He got leaner for after his first fight. I think his first fight with DC, Stipe came in around like 240 something. I think his second fight he came in the 230s. He was lean. He looked a little stronger but leaner. He's put some pictures up on Instagram where he looks really lean. Like, maybe just too lean. Carry some weight, because DC I don't think is going to be massive, but he's probably going to come in around 240, 245, maybe 250. That's a big guy. That's a big guy built like a fire hydrant who's coming for a takedown, and if you're 25 pounds lighter than him, he's going to toss you around like a rag doll. He's going to easily, DC is the king of the high crotch. You know what I mean? He goes in, one leg, high crotch, picks you up, boom, you're on the ground. And by the time you're on the ground, guess what? DC won. That's it. That's his domain. He's going to win. I don't think Stipe is going to be able to stop that if he's too lean. I'm hoping he's not, way lighter than he should be, but that weight made me a little nervous. So I think this weekend you're definitely going to see it. I think DC will probably take it. I think in the third round. I think if he stays steady beating up Stipe doesn't have an unbreakable chin. We've seen him get knocked out before, including by Daniel Cormier. I think if DC beats him up a little bit, maybe slows him down a tiny bit, then his hands can open up a little bit, but not a lot. Get it back down to the ground. I don't think he's going to submit Stipe. I don't think Stipe is going to give Cormier his back or anything like that unless he's in some serious trouble. But I think what you're going to see is maybe some ground and pound, finish it off. Maybe the start of the third or the fourth round, if he's been beat up on the ground, he's kind of compromised. I think DC just ends up going after him, getting a hold of him on the feet, sending a good combo in, that right hand lands, and that's lights out. Daniel Cormier gets to ride off into the sunset as one of the best fighters that have ever walked the face of the earth, and rightfully so. And then Stipe loses his belt, but then immediately fights Francis Ngannou for his belt again, because who the hell else is going to fight Ngannou for that belt?